made that promise. I remember when they were putting together the youth manifesto, we were all called to give in our one or two knowledge. And one of the things I actually talked about was decoupling the youth ministry from sports. And for me, I particularly happy to see that His Excellency did exactly that and had given George Opariodo the chance to lead it. It's a good thing that now we have a ministry focusing on youth development and empowerment, but that we have a lot to still do. And I will say that kudos to the government for having fulfilling one of their key things in the manifesto.
A step in the right direction, you say, but there's been a number of challenges in this sector. What do you make of this, and what are your expectations going into 2025?
As we all know, close to about 52% of our population are youth. So whatever we are doing, we need to put in policies and programs that will promote and empower these young people to either take up leadership or to either take up entrepreneurship. What Honorable George Opariodo should do is that he has to, first of all, go back to look at their manifesto and all that they promised. They talked about youth entrepreneurship, innovation, skills, digital skills training. They talked about the mental health of youth, a lot of things, promising things. So I would want that as they have started manifesting whatever they wrote in their manifesto, they should go back to that manifesto. However, there are key things that also need to be focused on. I said in one of a publication that Ghana needs the Youth Federation. You see, we run a system where we tell the young people you are the leaders, but we are not empowered to lead. Why am I saying this? In 2016, before the NDC left, they made the then National Youth Council to become National Youth Authority with the NYA Act 2016. And inside the Act, it is mentioned that they should set up what is called the Youth Federation, which is supposed to be the amalgamation of all registered groups across Ghana. What that seeks to do is that it is going to give an independent voice for youth to be able to support our economic development.
Do you think that the efforts available now is not enough to empower the youth? A number of youth agencies currently running, a number of initiatives, both government and private sector. Do you think this is not enough to empower the youth economically and also leadership-wise?
So the problem in Ghana is that we have, like they say, a lot of meat doesn't spoil the soup. But for us, a lot of meat is spoiling our soup. Yes, we have several agencies. We are talking about National Youth Authority, Youth Employment, NEIP, GA, Maslok has a component of youth. Every other ministry have something on youth, even Ministry of Trade and Agriculture, now Agribiz, right? The point is that even having all of this, there is not that point where they all synchronize or they all coordinate their effort. That is why over the years, we have been working on the National Youth Policy. What the National Youth Policy seeks to do is that we identify the problems of the youth, and now we identify everybody that play a key role in the youth development and assign a certain responsibility to you. At the end of the day, the National Youth Authority mandate is to ensure that if there is anything under Ministry of Trade to do for youth, you are doing it. If there's anything under Ghana Enterprise Agency to do for youth, you are doing it. But the problem is that there is no way to coordinate. There is no way to report. So everybody is doing what they can do in silos. And the problem is, Ghanaian youth are so moved by numbers. So at the end of the day, they come and tell you that, we have done 1 million jobs and we are happy. That something that you cannot see. So the coordination is our problem.
And you believe the Youth Federation will address this situation?
Oh yes, if the Youth Federation is set up, this is an independent body and they understand what they are doing and the leadership are not partisan, they would help the authority, the National Youth Authority, to ensure that ministries, agencies, department, if you are responsible of or you are given the responsibility of doing something for the youth, you ensure that you do it at the end of the day. That is one of the key works of the federation. And aside that, the federation will be able to mobilize the youth to take up the opportunities. You need a federation, an independent body that the youth will align with. This is our body. This is for us.
Now, let's jump to the starter bill. Now, assuming, if a federation is set up, from all what you say, this would help speed up in the passage of, certain important legislative pieces like the starter bill. Now, with a new minister in place focused on the youth or youth development for that matter, when are you likely to go see him to ensure that there are timelines to the passage of the starter bill?
So for George, my understanding with the new minister, George Okorie-Addo, popularly known as Pablo, is that he has a listening ear. And what he said in his interview, actually I was there at the Parliament House to just give a support. What he said is that he doesn't really care. He doesn't care where you are coming from. As far as you have a proposal that can create jobs for the youth, he, George Okorie-Addo, Minister of Youth Development and Empowerment, is ready to work with you. So I know such a person, if he really meant what he said, will be more open to discussions. And we are looking to engage him anytime soon as the committee that have been working on the Ghana Innovation and Startup Bill. As a minister, this bill should be one thing that George Okorie-Addo should see as a legacy for him. We couldn't get it passed in the previous government. If he gets it passed, it is going to be a big legacy for his ministry. And one of the key ways that he can turn around the startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem within the youth. There are a lot of funding in that area. The development partners are watching. You have been with us. Last year, you saw World Bank coming in to support the effort of the bill, the International Trade Center, and so many. Ghana just needs to position ourselves and pass this bill to an act so we can attract more funding to support our youth entrepreneurs and startups. You see, sometimes if you have a very strong policy or a law, it opens up a lot of ways. Last year, the African Union also launched the African Union Startup Framework and Startup Bill. Exactly. And they are asking all the 54 African states members to adopt it. So nobody would have to come and convince you that this is an important thing. So for me, we'll be engaging George Okorie-Addo very soon. It's not only George, we'll also be engaging Sam George himself. He is also Minister of Communication and Innovation, because these are the two key ministries, so that we can quickly put heads together. The committee will let them know the work we have done so far, where we are now, and if possible, if there can be timelines for us to get it passed, we'll definitely get back to people like you and communicate whatever discussion we have with the new minister. But we are hoping and believe that having to engage them unofficially, there are people that would support this bill to be passed, because if the bill is passed, it definitely is going to be a legacy for them going forward, and it will help especially George Okorie-Addo to be able to create that needed jobs for the youth.
What should be his first line of action? What should he tackle first?
First, he should do a holistic, non-political stakeholder engagement. Call all the youth leaders together, identify them, bring them together, have a discussion with them. You see, his ministry is quite new, and he will need innovative people to help him come up with ideas and programs to help the youth. I know already they have some beautiful things in their manifesto, but that alone is not going to stand. We need more innovative ideas. For example, on youth entrepreneurship, innovation, and startup. Because if you really want to create jobs for Ghanaian youth, you need to be thinking entrepreneurial. How do we do this? By virtue of the fact that some of us have run the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs and other ecosystem actors, we are available to support. So first thing he needs to do as a minister is to conduct a holistic, non-partisan stakeholder engagement of all youth leaders. Then the second thing is to start the formation of the Youth Federation. Right. The Youth Federation will help his ministry a lot than any other. Imagine the minister has youth leaders who are independent and non-partisan and able to give him objective views. It's going to help him a lot. And then the last one for me he has to do is to focus on youth entrepreneurship, innovation, and startup. If you really want to help His Excellency John Dramani Mahama create the 1 million jobs, and the opportunities in that sector they are enormous.
With the trade ministry now, being reorganized to have a focus on agribusiness, what do you make of this, and how can this impact agric entrepreneurs or young agric businesses for that matter?
So that was also another thing that I was happy about, to see that this current government introduced agribusiness into trade. That is unconventional, but I love it, because promoting trade, they added agribusiness. Somebody will say that why is it not going to the Ministry of Agri? But I love the dynamics. At least it has given the opportunity to the Ministry of Trade to promote agriculture. But now connecting it to the youth, her focus will be to design programs that can provide access to funding to youth who want to go into agriculture. And at least, how can we have access to lands? If we can get them those and get them the funding, the Ghanaian youth are going to employ technology to give us the best out of farm.
Now, Sherif, I know there's a lot whenever it comes to the development of the sector, but your final words, I mean, a new government in place, new ministers, new vision, what are your expectations?
Let us not make it the winner takes all thing. When we do that, technocrats who can add up, who have rich experience in some of the areas, we are not willing to come out and share because we are even afraid to share what we know and what we can do. Though for me, I don't promote that. We need to share. If they come in and they are open for us to work together, they want to listen, I think that we are available to support them and we are available to work together to be able to change the fortune of our country by ensuring that our youth are empowered. You can't have a Ministry of Youth Development Empowerment and we don't have any empowered youth. So for Jojo Parado and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, it's not just a promise. They should see this to be a big thing. And I'm happy listening to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Every time he talks about youth, he talks about job. This is where we need to really do the thinking. So yes, we are giving them. We will start talking very soon, but we are just watching. Yes.
And that is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. He says he won't be doing much talking for now, but he will be quietly observing, and when the time comes, he will go to the ministries himself and make sure things are done. Thank you for watching.